I mean, so that's now playing amazing, and it's so there were 4 stages, just to kind of recap on this. So the first thing we did was adjusting the truss rod to make sure that the neck had the right amount of relief. Yep. That's thing 1.
Yeah.
Then the second thing, we put a capo down at the first fret, so we didn't have to worry about the height of the nut. We just focused on getting the bridge pieces the right height, and people might have to do that a different way if they've got a Gibson type guitar or whatever. So there's different types of
Gibson type guitar
bridges.
You've got a different bridge in you, so on
something like this, you're just adjusting these to.
So it's a global adjustment.
Let's just get the little video out as well. So there's and you just turn those, right?
Yeah. Again, clockwise drops the post into the face of the guitar, thereby the action comes down, anti-clockwise, and it'll come up. The intonation is here, adjusted by those screws on the back. These can be a bit, hard to turn as well. So you might find that you need to slacken all the strings.
I've
or
noticed that.
even a bit of lubrication on them sometimes is necessary to get them.
Like WD-40 kind of.
Use that. You don't want to spray it everywhere, but just get it in so it's on the post, on the post down, and then on where the wheel on the post meets the underside, and maybe in the actual insert as well. There's different styles of that, but
What else? I'm just trying to think if there's what other types of funny bridges I've got. I mean, I think that's similar. Telecaster. Well, the Telecaster's got an interesting one. This is a different type again, I guess. So what have we got here? So to adjust that one, you've got
1, 2, 3 screws.
So you've only got 3 screws to adjust the.
This has got the upgraded saddles on it. So it's got brass, but they're the compensated saddles, so they attend to that stepped intonation that we saw on this guitar. Whereby the high E steps back to the B, steps back to the plain G, and then steps forward to the wound D.
I can see it.
And then back again. So it's 3 and 3,
I can't remember. I think that a friend of mine gave me those saddle blocks. I can't remember the name of his company. I'm going to have to put a link in the description. Sorry, Giles. And then the adjustment backwards and forwards is just a choice of 3. The height is the little Allen key on the top. Otherwise it's the same. And
with this you really do have to be aware, because they are, unlike the red guitar we've just been working on, with these, they are actual magnets, so they really do pull the string.
Oh, so these ones aren't actually magnets?
No, these are they're just slugs, and there'll be a bar magnet underneath. But they're still, I think they were still close enough. I think they were
having
just starting to have something.
But the older guitars are going to have more powerful magnets. And humbuckers, the same? Are they more powerful than single coils or less?
But because they're similar to this, they've got a bar magnet underneath. They don't directly focus the magnetic field in the same way. It's a broader magnetic field, and the magnet is further away.
I think that's all of the types that I've got here anyway. So, okay, well that's been, so we adjusted those, and then we took the capo off and we adjusted the nut height. And then after that we looked at the intonation. So and that's a complete setup. So if somebody bought a guitar in for you,
we check the electrics as well and make sure. There's one thing on this that's probably worth pointing out as well, actually.
Okay. Okay, so all of our setup is done, but you've just said that there's something to do with the input-output jack.
There's that, and we should make sure that all the controls work and function as you'd expect them to. So that's quite stiff, but what you expect. One of the most common things that we get is, my guitar stopped working, my electric guitar stopped working, my electroacoustic guitar stopped working, and the suspect is, it's the pickups, it's something, the pots, the switch. Nearly always, what should we say?
Let me get
85% of the time, it's one of these wires is
one
of those 2 wires there
has
come off. And the reason it's come off is that over time, inserting and removing the jack plug from the socket makes the jack itself go loose. Then what happens is, depending how vigilant or otherwise you are, people will, oh, it's come loose, and they tighten it up by hand. So what happens then is this twists round, say it goes tight, and then time marches on, gets loose again, blah blah, blah, and repeat, and eventually what happens is one of the wires drops off. And whereas this what I'm going to suggest won't necessarily completely, remove that as a problem. It'll definitely help, and I don't still quite understand why they don't do it, but on loads and loads of Far Eastern manufactured guitars, they'll have a nut on the outside and they put a nut on the inside, whereas on the US guitars what they'll fit is like a locking star washer, which kind of goes where that nut is really. You'd either have it where that nut is or between the nut and the inside of the socket, the socket plate there. And what that then does is it lengthens the time, if you like, really, that it's going to take before it becomes so loose that you screw one of the wires off. And really, if you do it up sufficiently tight, this beds in to the nut and beds into the plate here and pretty much locks it out.
Yeah, right.
So that's.
And where would people get one of those star washers from?
We have them in the shop, but that are going to be
a guitar shop.
A guitar shop,
or a guitar repair place.
Guitar spares place.
What would they search for if they were going to search on the internet if they live in the middle of nowhere?
Locking washer, star washer.
Okay.
But at the point that you do that, what you might also consider is, I don't think I brought one with me, but the jacks that they use, the jack socket on this piece here, is very kind of, by comparison to the American Switchcraft brand ones. Right. They're probably now Mexican now, actually, probably made in Mexico. But that's a whole other story. The Switchcraft brand ones are much more robust. The actual skeleton part here is much stronger, much better quality metal, and so they'll last much longer. So quite often, if we have a broken one of these, we'll suggest changing it for in terms of
relatively inexpensive.
Yeah, I mean the part I think is about £3 or £4.
Okay. And it is only 2 cables to solder, right?
2 cables to solder.
Now, we're not going to do how to solder in this lesson, but I'm sure people could find a video on how to do that on the internet.
Yeah, it's a dark art soldering, so, make sure you get a good one. And the other thing, I think, while we're talking about changing that, is on this guitar, this switch, as I say, is very stiff. We'll plug it in, we'll just see if it's noisy or not. The inexpensive switches tend to be noisy out the box quite often. You get crackling between, as you switch between selections. So if you upgrade the switch, it's not a bad idea.